So one thing we've put off for far too long is this huge actions page view model. If we look at the class size now, it's 1,470 lines of code. That's way too many. But probably over 1,000 lines of code are these repeating things for, we have a list, then we have a selected item with its ID and property. Then we have a bunch of things other than that. We have all the actions for it as well. So if we go into here, we have like fetch the list, add a new item to the list, cancel and edit, delete an item, delete it from the UI, save the item, and all these things repeat for every single item. So we have 6-7 times this repeating plus more. So we really want to make this into a sort of generic class to slim down all of this. I think where we'll start is we'll pick, let's just collapse everything down. And I think we'll pick, say, this file info one. Let's just start with that. And what we want to do is replace not only the list, we also want to replace the fact that we have to make each of these items. So even though the logic isn't that much, it's repeating every time because every list item has this. And then when we get down to these functions, these are a lot of code. So all this is practically identical in every single version of the lists. So all of these functions we want to chuck into some kind of generic class and handle. So we'll start doing this in chunks. I'm not sure where we're going to go with it yet, but we want to add another class, and I think we'll do, it's got to be a view model because it's going into a view. So in the view models, we'll add another class, and we'll call this one, I don't know, selectable item list or something. Doesn't need to be anything too specific. And actually, we need to name that view model because it's going to be a view model. And then in here, we can override the view model base, just a standard view model. This will need to be partial. And then in here now, we'll start moving things over. So we know we're going to want a list. So we'll move that in. And then after that, we need to do all of these. So the property changed will still need to work. This can be just renamed to list now. But that means we're going to have to move all these in as well at a minimum. And now anywhere we see list or file info list, we can just change it to list. Property changed for, this will be selected, just call it selected item because it's now inside of a list, so we don't need to mention anything else. Selected item ID, view model. Now we're going to have to make this generic because obviously this is going to be used for multiple different versions of view models. So what we need to do is cut that type or leave it like that. Go to here, open the angle brackets, and we'll say T view model. And then in here, we can do T view model. Oh, copy and paste the right thing. Anywhere else we have that. So here now, we can change to the view model type. This can become selected item. This can become list. And now we have a problem here where if we change that to selected item ID, we need to have an ID. So we need to be aware of at least an ID because that's what we select on. If we keep that similar logic, which we do, where there's an ID, we could constrain this view model to wherever the ID is. So if we were to look in actions, file info view model, action view model, we've got it inside of an action view model as an ID, job name, and description. So we don't really want it as an action view model because the process view model also has an ID. So instead of trying to link and limit the generic to a specific class, I think we're going to have to make an interface. So we'll do a public interface. And normally you'd put this in a new class, but I'm just going to keep it simpler and keep it in the same area for now. This will be an iSelectable list item. We don't need the view model because I suppose we technically should. That's probably more of a correct name. But we don't need it to be part of the view model like that. So in here now, we just know we need a string of ID. And then what we'll have to do, it'll be a getter and setter actually as well. What we'll have to do now is make sure everywhere we want to override this, so this actions file view model, for example, we'll need to implement that interface, but automatically, because the action view model has ID, it's already implemented. We shouldn't have to actually change the view models, we just need to tell it conforms to this interface. And now in here, we can't access ID yet because we need to now do a where clause on the T view model, and you can see it's already suggested that we do a where clause on this interface, and now we know we can access the ID. This is also still file info list has items. It just wants to be list has items. And now I think if we've done that right, everything in here is now completely generic. At least up to this part. So then what we'll do now, we can delete all these and we can replace it. So we'll just delete all of them. We'll replace this one with, it's not even an observable collection anymore. It's just a selectable item list view model, and it will be of type action file info. And then this can still be called the same, but we'll have to new up an instance of the actual view model here. And that's because we're going to need some form of, and that won't need to be in the top, we're going to need some form of feedback from each of these selectable item lists when we come to do things like adding and deleting. It can't be that generic that it's going to know what to do with the database. So we'll have to abstract that out into here afterwards. So the next step is, let's scroll down because there's no point trying to compile just yet. We know it's going to crash. We've got a lot of work to do, but let's start with these commands. So we want to replace all of these commands. So I guess we might as well just cut all of them in one go and then work our way through. Not sure why that's not showing the collapsible option there, but all these up to there, we want to cut now. They're all gone. These won't be methods, so that won't even exist. And then all these will end up being the same as well. So back in the selectable, let's just paste them all in and then work our way through making this generic. So we have fetch, and instead of file list info, it's just fetch list. And now in here, this is the first problem where this is very specific. So the database service get file info list. We need to abstract this out now because every single selectable list is going to do something different for fetching its list. It also wants to sort specifically by file info view and convert into view model. So all this is a very specific code here. Even though it's obviously very similar, this little line is always going to be different. So we need to abstract this away. So we know we need to cut that away. We know we need to set the list because that's internal to this class now. So the list is going to have to equal something new. And what we can do is in the constructor at the top here, we'll pass in a func, and it wants to return the observable collection of the tview model. That's what they're all going to return, is basically a list. We'll call this getList. And now in here, we can do getList. So that's going to abstract that out of the way of this function. We can then just update all these, and I don't think we'll need anything else. All this is generic again. So all this logic now can already be changed to work. Almost. So we've got set save state. And again, the set save state is, I think we can make that generic because everywhere we're doing a fetch list, this save state is pretty low level. So I don't mind integrating it, I don't think. So where did we put the set save state? Is it in view model base? Yeah, so it's really every single view model is going to have this. So we're safe to presume that everything's going to have a set save state. So we'll come back to that in a second. Let's just now go back to where we knew this up here. So now you can see this is complaining. We need to pass in, actually, we've done that. We're going to have to change it to just opening parentheses. And in here, it's going to expect a get list as the first parameter. And now this is where we want to return that code. So if we pasted it in, this is what we want to do. But what we can do is open like this, paste in here, and we have a method now, and then return the list instead of setting a variable. So that's what we're going to have to do for each version. So for save model, save drawing, import drawing, all this, this is the only bit that we have to define that's unique, which is much less code. And then we need to copy this set save state as well. And in order to access this call here, we can just go to the interface and paste in here. So what we're defining here ultimately is a bunch of shared properties and methods that we expect everything that gets passed in to adhere by in order to be able to, unify all this logic. But because everything already should. They're all view models and they already have the ID. We should find that we don't have to do much work to the view models. So same for the next one. We have add new and then file info item. It can just be add new item. New item can be the T view model. There you go. It can't be now. So when you're newing up, like say this T view model, you can't do that because obviously we don't know the view model and we don't know what's going on here. So if we undo that, do the same again here, cut that, make a new method called new item. And then we'll do the same in the constructor up here. We will do a, will it need to be a function? Yes, it'll be a function. And it will just be a single T view model. And it will be called, well, create item is actually a better name than new item. So we'll do create item. Back to here, we've got to now add another one. And then in here, we can paste this in. So we can do, I think, a single line like this. Yeah, there we go. So that's now the unique part of creating a new item. So you can see how we're separating just the very specific unique logic. So if we wanted to keep this inside of the generic class, we could, but we'd have to say that the generic type can be newed up. It's also a class. We'd have to tag in the isNewItem and isJobName. It just gets very ungeneric if we start trying to mix too much in. So these want to stay outside of the generic. It's not really the generic part, and we leave that up to the specific calls. In here then, we can do selected item ID, that's fine. Next up, cancel. So this will just be cancel item. Same again, selected item. Everywhere we just see file info, we simply remove. This will be selected item. Now this is new item. Again, because the selectable items list is all about, we're including, adding, saving, deleting, cancelling. The new item term, in a sense, is specific and should be used everywhere. So if we were to do is new item, you can see it is declared inside of, oh, is new item is just, that is actually in the wrong place really. That probably wants to be in, well, it is and it isn't. Do we want to put it in a view model base? We don't. So this is where we just have to make sure that the view model for the process does have an is new item, which it does. But that really says that the process view model and the action view model would almost want to have a shared class. But for now, we will just have to make sure that's implemented, and luckily it is. So this will just be, again, a Boolean is new item, get and set. And that will already be implemented, so we don't need to change any code. And now we can access that. Then we need a function for delete item from UI, selected item ID, selected item. Restore state is the same as save state. So let's just have a look at the definition for that. Restore state. So we want to implement this from the view model base. So just copy the header definition, paste it in here. And we need to make sure we implement that as well. Now we just need to rename this. I think that's all good now, this function. It's just that we have a method that's not named correctly yet. So if we name that, there we go. That now is the method there. Delete. So this isn't too bad so far, but then we're going to have all the UI to bind and all this to do for every item again. So this is going to take some time to do, but it's going to be worth it. So deleting an item, we check if it's got the item. We await if we can delete from the UI, so the dialog pops up, and then we want to delete from the database. So again, this is specific to each item. So same as before, we'll have a delete item, and that will be another pass in to the header here. This time it's actually going to need some info. I'm just saying delete item. That needs to be an ID passed in. So to pass in the ID, we're going to have an we're not returning anything, so it's going to be an action with a string for the ID and delete item. Then in here, we can do delete item. We'll pass in the ID, and we can paste that now and access it here. What's that complaining about? Replace with method. Oh, that's, yeah, because we're passing in, basically, we're getting the parameter, and then we're passing just the parameter in. We can shorthand this a little bit and just do that. Like that. There we go. So it's just an easier way of doing that, because they happen to match. The exact action string matches the method declaration there of a string. Minimize that. So delete item, pass the ID. That's that done. So this isn't too bad. I thought this was going to be a lot more painful. Delete item from UI. This one will be interesting. So we have the list. We're basically getting if it's got the ID. If we want to warn, we have a dialog. I think we can have the dialog and then delete file info. So we possibly want a title, so we can like make something specific here make sense. Or is there anything? Yeah, we probably need to pass that in. Otherwise, we have no real descriptive name for this pop-up. So we'll do title, I guess. Pass that in at the start here. And then in here, this can be title, file, info. And we can use that then within dialogues and things. The dialog service, I think we need in the main view model, because there's no reason we shouldn't be able to pop up a dialog. So let's just go back to here, copy and paste these out of the actions page. And then I think we'll do title, and then we'll do the dialogues. So we'll do main view model, pass in the main view model, dialog service, pass in the service. And then if we go to here, we want to have them passed in here. Yep, so now they're passed in. We get to, this keeps expanding all these items. We get to here. We can do a new dialog. We've got the title. Are you sure you want to delete? And now job name, again, this is the item inside of each list. So the list of T items. So if we go up to here, and let's just add a string called job name. And again, job name's a bit generic, a bit non-generic rather. The job name is almost specific to the actions, but in the process view and where else we use it, it's still basically a title. It should really be called a title. But for now, we'll leave it called job name. We can refactor that after we've done the other big refactor. Otherwise, I don't want to start doing renames in the middle of all this as well. So that will probably just become a generic, name or title. Probably just name, to be honest, is the right thing for that. So we have the name of each item. Do we want to delete it? Show the dialog. If we do want to delete it, remove it from the list. And then if the list has more than one item, update the selected item from the list. So all that can be done now. Save item async. This is selected item. So I think we're nearly there for a bulk of it. Selected item, new model, database service we should have. Why have we not got that? Selected, oh, hang on, this is, we don't need the database service, do we? This is now specific. So if it's a new item, we're going to need two more calls. One is to add an item to the database, another is to update. So this one will be, it will be passing in the selected item, and it's add. So this will be add item, and it will be the selected item. And you could do ID, but you can just pass the whole item because we want to cast it. So that will be, I presume that'll work. And then in here, we've got get, create, delete, add. Now wants to be in action again, but this time it wants the TView model called add item, action, update item. So it's got them two right. We'll do one at a time. So we'll go into here, add item. We need to do the item, and then database service, add file info, item.to data model. I think that's it. Copy and paste, update item, and it will just be update item. There we go. And then this can change to update item. So you can see there's quite a few things, but this, bear in mind, this call here in this creation is replacing not only all four calls like this, it's also then replacing all of these methods over and over and over and over and over. So there's absolutely tons that we're saving by doing this. So it looks like you've got quite a big class creation here, but all we're doing is creating the very specific things like getting, creating, deleting, adding, updating to the database only. So there's nothing wrong with this. This is how we'd want to basically do it. This is ideal. Selected item, what's that complain about? Add class constraint to T-model. Why? Value assigned to a property of a non-variable qualifier expression can be lost. Okay, I'm going to trust rider on that. I don't even know what that's trying to tell me. Could be wrong. Is new property setting. I guess it's something to do with the fact that we're not telling it that the TView model is a class. So it could be an interface, a record. It could be some other type of object that setting a property for could get overridden. I'm guessing that's the warning. Oh, that's it then. So now begins the compile and errors, I guess, because we've got all the view to bind and we've got to see if this still works. So first issue, fetch list info is no longer there. That is now the, we should have file info list now, that new object. So there's our new object, and inside of here we now have the fetch. Is it called fetch? Get. What do we call it? I could have sworn we. Oh, I bet we haven't exposed it. Fetch list, yeah. Oh, it's private. Let's make, even though it's a command, we want to make that one public so that we can invoke it in here. Fetch list, there we go. So that works for that. We've got it again further down, so let's just copy this. And we'll do that here. Compile again. There's no way that's the only error. We've got all the views yet. There we go. Right, so the view, we might as well collapse that a minute. Ignore all these now. We know there's, well, if we look at these errors, they're all inside this view. So all we've got to do is work our way through this view and get rid of all the errors, and then hopefully this works. So instead of add new file info item command, which was on the action page view model, that's now, so add item. That's now going to be inside the fetch, what's it called? File info list, is it? I don't know, we got IntelliSense. Yeah, we haven't got IntelliSense, great. File info list dot add new item, did we say? Add new item command. Just undo, I can't remember if that was what it was. Yeah, add new item, so that's that one. But we don't have IntelliSense now because it doesn't compile. So we're gonna have to try and remember all this. File info list, it's no longer that, be careful there because that's not erroring out, but it isn't actually this. This is now an object, file info selectable list. So it's the internal list inside that. Value binding selected item ID. So if we paste this in, selected item ID, and we shouldn't have to do much bar, you know, copy and pasting. Just got to be careful that we don't miss something. Delete file info command. So again, it's going to be this, and then delete file info command. It's going to be delete item. Is selected is fine. Has items or not has items. So paste in has items. That's fine. Add new. So paste in. That's already correct. Has items. Paste in. Has has items. There we go. Selected file info item. So paste that in. Selected item. And that looks like it's going to be the same for all these. So copy and paste that. Check we're not missing anything on the outside. And now cancel and save. So that won't be the selected item. That will be the cancel command. And the, oh, what's going on there? Oh, okay, so now pasting something completely different. And the save command. And that's the view. So is that it, or have we got more problems? No, that's compiled. Right, let's see if that wasn't too bad at all. Thought that was going to be way worse. Let's see if this works, though. We might be celebrating far too soon. So pops up, actions, file info. Okay, still there. New, cancel. That's a good start. Save, new, and you can see this is selecting as well when we click new. So we know this job, you know, the selection code's running. Delete, no, tab in, tab out, delete, yes. I think it's working. So yeah, there we go. So now all we've got to do is go through. We've got this unique, this generic selectable interface now. We need to go and do it on every one of these. So print list, custom properties, save model, save drawing, import drawing, macro. They're all the same, so we should be able to do exactly what we've just done and remove all of these. So let's just take a look. If those are all going, we're adding probably, 86 to 66. So we're adding 20 lines per one. And we've got, let's just work out what the file size should be when we're finished with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to add 100 lines of code to implement these. And then all these methods would be going. So the class is going to end up at 135 lines plus 500, because even though technically this is 20 lines of code, oh no, we're going to add 80 lines of code, aren't we? So it's going to add 100. So the class is going to end up at 80 lines more. So 200 lines of code this class is now going to be, down from 1,400. So that's where we're going to be at when we've finished changing all them over. So I won't bother recording all that. I'll leave that task up to you guys to follow along and do what we've just done, but for all the remaining ones. And then what we'll do, or I'll do as well, is we'll do it for the process view model as well, I believe it is. So it's going to be in the process page view model. You can replace this one as well. So fetch processes, add new process, delete process. So this can also be refactored out. So you want to do it for the processes here and everything in this page. And then if you want to just get up to date, the link in the video description will give you the GitHub push to all of this completed and done for you. So that's a massive cleanup of the code that we've been putting off for a while. And it's going to make adding these so much easier now when we want to do a very similar behavior in a class. I don't tend to do these kind of things at the start. That's why we just worked through, because until you've kind of stabilized what you're doing and used it enough, you'd be changing these just as much as the rest of the code if things didn't work out that they would be so standardized. So it's okay to grow the classes as you work, wait until it gets to a certain stage, and then refactor as you go. That's pretty normal. So that's it for this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next.